For this last one, I actually intentionally left it as our last game to talk about, because I feel like we've all played it.
We're all gonna hate
and
it.
Yeah, no pressure.
And probably, but with that, I'm just gonna have everyone guess. Ben, this is Ben and M's choice. I'm gonna have everyone guess as to what it is. So, Jason, what do you think it is?
And we're all gonna hate it.
Yeah.
No, you're not gonna hate it.
That was a bad hint. You're not
gonna hate it. No hints. What do you think it is?
Wingspan.
Oh,
Dave?
That's a good choice.
That's a good one. But
Viticulture?
McKay.
also a good
I
one.
like how we're all going Stonemeyer.
You're just naming
Name
Natalie's
my
favorite
Stonemeyer up.
games.
They're probably all just hating this.
About Everdell.
Nelson.
Say Orleans, and we're right on Emily's track here.
Orleans. There we go.
Dalton.
I go Taverns
Don't
of
say that.
Tiefenthal.
Another good one.
Professor.
They all got stolen from me. Why did I have to go?
Well, you could have had the same one. You
Over
could
a
have the
shoulder.
same
Just
one.
pick a shoulder.
Right behind
Yeah.
you, so Spirit
direction.
Island.
I'll say Jaws of the Lion for this year.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
It is Everdell.
Yes, Everdell.
All right. So I like heavy games, and Emily hates heavy games. And
I play Feast for Odin though.
that's because that's the one.
That's
you have
a-
one.
I
You
allow
say, "I
one
learned to
game."
feast for Odin," and you'll play it with me. So
time for
what
heavy
we
games.
typically we have to find this median, right? What plays good at 2, but is typically worker placement. That seems to be your jam.
Okay.
I like decks of cards. I like Wingspan's got that huge deck. We used to play a lot of Race for the Galaxy with like all the
Smells better
expansion
than
cards,
Wingspan,
like
huh?
this big of a deck, and it's
Mhm.
like I don't even know what I'm gonna get, and it's probably
Yeah.
gonna be crap. Terraforming Mars, right? So Everdell's this like it was new to us this year because we picked it up when all the expansions came out. I wish I could say I backed the Kickstarter. I didn't. I paid more money than I should have to get the base game and all the expansions, even the new ones. And we played it for the first time this year. And where it hits for us is it's worker placement. It's got a big old deck, so you're building sort of your tableau of your city in front of you. And it's variable. I like that big deck because you're never quite sure what's going to come out.
Beautiful.
It's got the big tree. And that's the
It's a
thing,
freaking
right?
decorative piece, man. I'll never put this away.
It looks
I never
really
put mine away.
good. Like I really like this Andrew Bosley does the art for this game. He has a like an RPG
I'm a big fan of good
hook
art
thing
for
on
board games.
Kickstarter recently that was kind of cool. I like it's very cutesy, but it's like it's very detailed in a way that's fun.
Yeah.
And you think about in this game, you're building out a city, a tableau of cards, and there's partner cards in the deck. So there's the constructions and then
Critters?
critters,
Is that what they're called?
and they pair together. And I always like how in the construction you can always see the critter is in the art somewhere, like the judge is like poking his head out of the
By the time it's bedtime,
court.
like where board games get out, like I can easily be amused.
Yeah,
Let's
so-
be serious.
Right, like-
After 3 children all day, it's like, look at this little guy on the card.
If it was up
Let's
to
be
me,
serious
He thinks he's so
here.
sneaky.
right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, have you seen him?
Like if it's up to me, our shelf is nothing but Vital Lacerda games. It's Brass Birmingham. Like I tried to play Clinic this year. Emily was quit after the first one. She was like, "This is insane. Are you crazy?" And I went and played that with some friends.
True.
We had a good time. And so Everdell's like this thing where I feel like I'm trying to build a tableau. I'm trying to be clever. I'm looking for certain cards. I'm doing worker placement. It's light enough that we don't really have to read the rule book again to remember the rules. We can just pull it out and play it. But also, like I like how you have to combo things, and it looks fantastic. And in the end, it's like we always have fun.
Yeah, it's
Playing it.
fun either way. But there's so many cards and so many action spaces and whatnot that come out that it's always different. It's not the same game. It's not like whoever gets to this is always going to get the first 10 points kind of thing. It's who knows what we're going to get and how you're going to play, especially since we have the 3 expansions. So you can like switch it up with that too.
And it's decently tight, even at 2, because there's like not that many worker placement spots for the resources. There's
Yeah.
one pebble spot. you know, and unless there's a forest action, which are these kind of random each time you play for a pebble, you're kind of like stuck. Like if the other person takes it, what are you
That's
going to do? You know, so it can still be kind of like mean and hard a little bit. You can kind of like, you're still playing against each other.
But I can still sing Mariah Carey while we're playing. And,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
like
It's light enough.
Mhm.
It's
The
light
important
enough that
thing.
it's a date.
exactly.
And that's the thing, you know, it's light
I've
enough
never
that it's still
resonated
date
more.
night.
And I think
No,
too with Everdell, it's pretty enough that I don't mind if I lose. Like even
Yeah.
if I get all my critters out, even if I do lose, I still feel like it was fun. Whereas some games, if I lose, I'm like, I should have done this, I should have done that. Ugh, I played this wrong. Whereas with
Mhm.
Everdell, it's worth it either way.
You still got to handle the little berries. Like that's
The
the
swishy
Yeah.
berries, the shiny pearls.
Exactly.
they did such a good job of the components, which I don't know why more like designers, why they don't do this more often, but like the shininess of the pebbles with the mat of the like the wood, the actual like they're made out of wood, like I don't know, everything in Everdell, which I haven't opened up Spirecrest or Pearlbrook, but I have
Spirecrest is where it's at, man. Spirecrest.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
agree.
I agree.
So this is evidence of my collector nature. These are all the collector editions, and yeah, I'm a completionist, and this is one that I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't gotten these expansions to the table because there have been so many others. But yeah, phenomenal game. It was.
I would say I would not play without Spirecrest ever after having played with it.
I like that one the most.
Because there's a thing where you run out of actions you can do, right? And so you have to change seasons. And typically that's just I get some more workers. Maybe my green cards produce. Spirecrest, the entire expansion is you do stuff during that when you pass into the next season.
In between.
It gives you you just do a couple of little things and it balances in a weird way. You'll get some card that gives you some advantage. And so to balance that out, in each season there's weather that's a negative.
Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of what they do. The negatives of the weather, I understand they have to be there, but like when you have it, like such a pain, it's like, oh, it's one extra resource to build a construction or
whatever. But
it's like, I don't like that. But even that's cute. You know, like it's windy.
it's cute because it's like
and
a squirrel.
it's like a little
away.
guy. It's like losing all his papers.
Yeah. His robes are like fluttering in the wind.
Yeah.
Exactly. You can't get mad at that. Like.
Yeah.
So
I think Spirecrest makes Everdell shine. I know we had the conversation about the expansions earlier, maybe before this. But Spirecrest, when I first played Everdell, I thought this game is good. I do like this game. I thought I wasn't getting enough resources, and then by the last season, I'm like, I have an abundance, and I have all these cards in my hand, and I don't know which one to put in my personal tableau. Like, how should I work this out? But adding Spirecrest to it and having that hindrance just made it that much more challenging, which made it a lot more replayable for me, because you lose a crit or you lose one of your workers. You might everything is a hindrance. It's great for me. I like it a lot. And actually, Jason, have you played it?
Oh, I'm gonna dissent a little bit. What how many people did you play at for all you guys? Like 2, 3, 4?
I would say 2 and 3.
It was
2 and 3.
It was
but usually
2 to 4 for me.
Okay, is like 2 and 3 better than 4? Do you think?
It's faster.
Yeah.
But I think it's about the same, personally.
So our board game group, we got Everdell when it first came out because it's a gorgeous looking game and there's no doubt about that. And we played it the first time, and our entire group just went, I don't know. There was just something off that we didn't like. So we're like, all right, maybe we just don't know the rules well enough or whatever. So we tried again. We played it 3 times in a row, and it just was one of those games that never clicked for us. And for me, a part of the problem was I haven't played in almost 2 years now, but the starting hand that you get, I thought was very random because there's just such a thick deck of cards that if someone gets good cards in the beginning and you don't, it's the same problem with Wingspan that I have. If somebody gets good cards in the beginning and you don't, it's just tough to come back. The reason I play solo is because I'm the best person when I play myself, because I'm bad with everyone else. And my buddy is good at board games. And I mean, he just would build his engine fast, or his tableau faster than anyone else at the table at 4. So it was a runaway win every single time. And no matter how much we'd all try to like figure out a different way to beat him, we just couldn't do it. And I don't know, that's more or less, he was just a better board game player than the rest of us. But I feel like every other game we have a chance if we focus on different strategies, just not Everdell. And I
I do agree, Jason.
With
And I'm
Everdell,
sorry, Dave, but I've had the same thing happen where I've had a couple times happen where it was like a dud. And
Yeah.
especially the husband and the wife. If you are ever holding out for that, the other one is not going to come. If you think they're coming, they're not coming.
no, that's what I was going to say. It's basically, once you're committed to a strategy, you're kind of dependent on that series of cards coming out. And if it happens, like, woohoo, but and there are ways to mitigate. Like you can like do the trade in for the cards, and there's a few cards that let you mill cards, and you can get cards faster, but you kind of waste actions to do that. And if you just happen to be at the table and get the cards you need, then it can really swing. Now, that having been said, I still really enjoy playing it. It's got a great solo mode too, but
that's what I hear. Yeah.
One of the few kind of knocks to it that I would say is you are really dependent on what cards come out.
Yeah.
Made by Mr. Dave right here. We have some resource trays for
I
this
know, those
game.
look beautiful.
I love them. We use them all the time.
I 100% agree.
Yeah,
like
I totally
when
agree with that.
when we're looking at our games for 2020, and we talked about this beforehand, like new to us this year, right?
We
This
didn't
is
have
probably
too
the
many
best game we
either.
played this year. That's always fun at 2 players, but you can definitely get like kind of screwed out on what you draw. Like you can
I
have a
think the
bad, you
first
can have a bad
game we played was like that, where
And-
I
and
didn't have any matches,
well, and
and
it's-
you had the like critter for every construction. I was like, I don't understand how you're playing this game.
That is critical. It's
So
critical
I
to
mean,
get some of the like
yeah.
auction happening. If not, you
Right.
just spend so much time building stuff.
yeah,
because it's extra actions and it's free. It's extra free actions
Yeah.
just based on a random
Yeah.
draw.
Yeah.
And that can happen. And criticism of Wingspan, very similar, right? Like,
yeah, if you don't get the right
and
connections,
at least there, like in a Wingspan, it's like, I don't know what I'm going to get. Every card's different. Who knows what's going to happen this time?
Right.
Maybe I get good draws. Maybe I get bad draws. Everdell, a lot of times I get cards and I'm like, okay, well, where's the partner to this?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And there's only so many partners in the deck. It's a very big deck, but there's lots of repeats of cards. I think there's maybe like 20 or so pairs. I don't know what the number
something
is,
like that.
but the deck is, I don't know how many cards, but so it repeats over and over again, but you still might never get it.
I think only because we mainly play 2-player, especially during 2020.
Easy to pull out.
It's easy to pull up, but also I kind of like that. Like, let's see how good we can actually get then for the score, because sometimes, we're gonna have that total dud.
Yeah, a lot of times you're
Um,
playing against your past self. Can I beat my previous
Yeah.
best score? I do think the expansions help, though. We at least at 2. I don't think we had to play with Pearlbrook.
Yeah, I'm not
like
really
I don't
a
need
fan of that
the
one.
front. Yeah,
The
Yeah.
pearls are beautiful.
the
They
pearls are
are.
fantastic.
Pearls are real nice.
That's
it.
But it's
But I
weird that it
didn't need, like,
replaces 3 and 4 point basic events
Yeah.
with like 15 and 20 point wonders that aren't that much more expensive. It's
And
very
there was
bizarre.
one game we played that I swung well and had a ton of pearls, and it did great, and I got those. But it happened once, And I think
Yeah.
that's kind of the
Get those
curse of
pearls
deck
going.
builders, because Ascension
Yeah.
recently I played again, and the same thing happened where it just like wasn't shuffled well and just
Yeah.
wasn't fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But if you
definitely
shuffle it well,
depends.
it's a perfect game.
So I got a question. We have actually started playing Wingspan, where we draft our initial 5 cards,
That's how you gotta do it.
Ooh.
and
Yeah.
that's
Interesting.
significantly better.
Ooh.
And I'm wondering if Everdell, because I'm with you, Jason.
Yeah.
I played Everdell
On my
3
note
times
sheet.
and
Could.
traded it. I couldn't get into it, but maybe that would have fixed it. And you could, if you have the husband, you can draft the wife coming around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You're absolutely right,
or
though.
locations with their critters. I
Yeah,
heard that.
exactly.
Like-
Just to have something to start, because if you have nothing to start
I
and
wrote
you're
that
screwed
down.
right away, it's like, well, why are we going to continue in some cases?
Right.
Mm.
And it is group dependent. Emily and I are competitive with each other, but we typically play pretty casually. Like I'm not going to pull Everdell out with the guys I play Brass and Clinic with. It wouldn't make any sense. You know, so for us it works great. Oh, hey, we got an hour tonight. Let's play this game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It falls into the, oh man, well, viticulture at 2 players is pretty quick, but I would consider that a much better game. But it falls into that like, hey, this is fun, this is cute, we remember how to play it. You know, let's
still a
pull it
little
out.
competitive, but yeah.
I think
Very happy.
for me, the only other thing that hurt too was just the hype behind it. I mean, the hype behind Everdell, that this is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and it's not the game's fault. I mean, that's just people buying into the hype.
No,
yep.
There's
so many games like that. So.
And I think we were on the tail end of that,
We were on the
actually,
other
where
end.
there was the hype, and then there was the, hey, doesn't live up to the hype.
Because
and
of the hype, yeah.
I picked it up, and we were like, this isn't as bad as everybody
I was
says
like,
it
it's
is.
not
This
that
is kinda
bad.
fun.
So, which could be part of it. But yeah, I just
No,
kept
yeah.
being like, no, it's totally not worth it. And then we finally played, and I'm like, I don't know, I kind of like it. Like, what's the problem?
Right. I'm just looking around, like at our other, like, what are the games we regularly pull off the shelf? Has it got up there?
So Ben, it's kind of
Definitely.
funny you mentioned viticulture because at 2019 Gen Con, I was debating between either getting Everdell or viticulture, and I ended up
Viticulture.
getting Everdell, and I traded it for viticulture.
Yeah,
So
I
it worked
would
out.
think that. I mean, both good, but yes, I would.
Well, did you get Tuscany for viticulture?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say you
Games
have
improved
to.
by the expansion.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No
Mhm.
kidding.
Yeah.
I would not play base
Meyer.
viticulture.
I
And
have
that
not
was
played
the,
base
having that was
viticulture.
night and day.
I'm
I
sorry.
thought
what?
I had, and then you're like, no, you actually haven't. You have only played the Tuscany. And I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Going from base viticulture to that the essential edition, or I'm sorry, the Tuscany, that's night and day. Like it's a
Yes.
completely different game.
Oh yeah.
Completely
Oh,
different
yeah.
game.
It literally changes. Yeah.
Dalton, did you play Everdell? Do you have any thoughts on the matter?
No, so Nelson has betrayed me twice in my life, and the first was when he got married, and then the second was when he traded Everdell before I got to play it.
I do apologize.
So no, but I've considered it because mostly because of the theme, that I think it would work really well for again, like that pie slice between like my heavy board game friend in Nelson, and then people that are less so, especially my family, but also in my girlfriend, who I think Everdell would hit right for them because of
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would think so.
It has
It's
this
like a
treat, and
light
it's like-
casual gamer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also kicking. It's not quite maybe a gateway game, but it is kicking you into a higher level of thinking and
Right.
introducing tableau building and some other
Mhm.
important mechanics.
A lot of mechanics.
Bane,
Yeah,
are,
for sure.
are any of you looking at that Creature Comforts Kickstarter? Because it's kind of got the the Everdell feel, but it's even slightly lighter. So if you want like that kind of gateway game that has that feel,
Interesting. I'll check that out.
Yeah, because I do think, if you took Everdell, which is great looking and kind of accessible, I think the problem with playing with like really new people, let's say, is that you can get in a situation where like, heck, I'm still in summer. I got like 10 more actions to do, and you're like in fall already.
Yeah, it would be.
What are you doing? I
It depends on the person.
like a lot of times I'll pull Century Spice Road off the shelf for that, and I'll be like, hey, I'm being real clever here, like,
Mhm.
and they're like beating me because I've just picked up too many
Yeah,
cards.
Splendor. Like I lose all
Yeah.
the time to first players in Splendor. I'm like, I'm obviously thinking about this too much.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. I think Everdell, if you thought hard enough about it, you probably would win.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Because you'd
or
build
the-
your city out. It would be much stronger than the other players. You could have a good engine.
Yeah.
But that's where it's good for like us. Like we want a casual game that's light enough to just pull out on a weeknight. And
Yeah.
that's where it hits, right? That's what it's good for. It's not the weekend heavy gamer night, but it's like, man, I want to play something, but I don't want to think too hard, but I kind of want to think hard and I want to beat you.
I want my win to matter a little.
Yeah, right. Right.
Fantastic. Yeah, how do I want to beat M tonight? That's really in Ben's
That's what I
mind.
ask.
Mhm.
I just found out the other day she likes co-op games. I was like, man, you should have told me that a long time ago before I bought 0 co-op games.
My
I Spirit
semester-
Island. My
Co-op
Symistix
games are good for
is
me.
Sound like a
Yeah.
throwing out thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
On Mars has a co-op version, right? I'm
I
pretty
think
sure,
it's
right?
coming out. It's an
It's coming out.
expansion that they're doing. Yeah.
I completely made that up. I was just.
Oh, yeah, no.
That's news to
Here we
me.
go.
That's awesome. There's,
No,
I'm
it's
just,
an
I'm just on
expansion. They're
Ben's
doing a
side
co-op
for
expansion,
Ben to
yeah.
get it.
Yeah. Terraforming Mars is a co-op game.
I highly recommend Mice and Mystics. I think you guys would really like it. It's cute.
Dude,
Your little
so
mice,
much
and you're
awesome.
going through, and you're like fighting.
On
We
top of
got that
Stuffed
for our
Fables
kids a
is
while ago.
all the Mice and Mystics and expansions that I bought to play with the kids, and it's
You're still
just
waiting.
sitting there.
2020, 2021. Wow.
Yeah.
I was gonna say goals, but
Some of it's partially painted around here somewhere.
right.
Oh, this is just Stuffed Fables. So
Yeah,
a
it's
little
Stuffed
elephant guy.
Fables. It's not. Maybe it is, but who knows where.
McKay, any thoughts on Everdell before we wrap?
I think it's great. I have the same feel, which I go back and forth on Everdell and Terraforming Mars. Every time I play, I'm like, I feel like I played a good game, but I lost miserably, and I don't know how that happens. I think it's just a type of game that everyone's playing their own thing, and it just worked out better for someone. And I think there's something to that. Like, there's something about a game where you have to make the best of what you got, and you just have to be okay with that. Like, sometimes you got dealt bad cards, and it's just fine with that. I do think I will start drafting every time I play it now. That is a fantastic idea.
That is a great idea.
But
I think if you draft in Terraforming Mars, though, you got to be careful because, like, if you lose now, you earn into the loss.
Now it counts.
Oh wait, in Terraforming Mars, though, don't you get 10 and then you get to pick 4?
In your starting hand.
Yeah,
Well, you can take all 10 if you want.
Yeah, you can take all 10 if you want. Yeah, but then
Then the
you
next
get
round.
Not like that.
I have to just throw out here because it was the game that was second on my list that I thought somebody else would pick it, but Quacks of Quedlinburg was my number 2 for this year. Great game. I just love it.
My
Only push
cousin
your luck
left
I've
it
ever
at my
liked.
house. My cousin left the game at my house, and I'm very happy about that.
We spread further apart. Here's how we feel about Quacks of Quedlinburg. I like it.
And
I don't mind it. I just find it too much of like, hey, it's like dice rolling. It's too much random draw.
We
have to be
yeah, but
okay
you
with
built
not
the
winning.
bag.
Yeah,
But I understand.
That's on
but
you.
I still.
That's on you.
I
That's
feel
on
like-
your bag.
I feel like I've won more than you, so you can't even say anything there.
sorry, I opened up a whole bag of worms on this one.
No, I don't mind that game, but if I'm gonna if we're gonna get one out, I'd probably choose a different one. I just
bad.
like
Play
having a
taverns.
little more control
Taverns.
over.
yeah. Play taverns.
All
Taverns
right.
and Taverns is all.
Taverns is great. Yeah.
I like
Taverns
taverns
is great.
better
I can
than
see it.
quacks, and
Okay.
it has that same-ish kind of feel. It's a little bit of push your luck. It's Wolfgang Varsh, so fantastic game.
I'll play that next.
Love it.
Awesome.
Deck building and worker placement or dice placement.
Mhm.